Welcome to my channel What If Legend. This what if on what if Naruto was neglected by his family part 1. The like goal for this video is 25 like. Sooner the like goal is meet sooner I will upload the next part for this what if. If you enjoy this what if don't forget like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Disclaimer, I don't own Naruto nor this what if. The Namikaze line had never had twins before now. Minato had paced the room as he was waiting for news about his wife and children from Tsunade, who had taken the primary role of seeing to their birthing. Minato could still remember what game Ubuntu had told him and Jiraiya a few months before Minato even knew they were expecting twins. Flashback. Gifted by the highest of hosts, your child will bring forth the power that has never before seen by mortal eyes. The one loved by the gods and feared by demons shall bear power that may bring about a new age or the end of the world when the time comes for the decision to be made. Only then will the world's fate hang in a balance for the first and last time. The Agama-Sennin spoke as Minato and Jiraiya stood before the elder of all toad summons. Flashback. And since boys were not so rare in his line, Minato instantly thought that perhaps the other twin would be a female. He had decided then and there that his daughter was the one prophesied by the toads as the gifted by the highest of hosts. Yes, he would still love his son the same, but for the sake of the prophecy, Minato would have to focus on his daughter in order for her to be able to face whatever it was that was foretold to come. Tsunade came out looking like she had fought 1,000 missing nins and smiled tiredly at Minato, Jiraiya, and Kakashi, who had waited for news. Minato, you have 2 healthy children, a girl and a boy, she told him and ushered them in. Kushina was asleep and next to her bed was one large baby cot. All men peered to see 2 sleeping children. The baby boy had whisker marks on his cheeks while the baby girl was unblemished. That made Minato's theory even more solid in his mind that it was his baby girl that was the chosen one. Unknown to the Vandame and the villagers of Konohagakure no Sato, the toads were communing with one another in the halls of the elder toads in Mount Myobaku. Gifted by the highest of hosts, your child will bring forth the power that has never before seen by mortal eyes. The one loved by the gods and feared by demons shall bear power that may bring about a new age or the end of the world when the time comes for the decision to be made. Only then will the world's fate hang in a balance for the first and last time. The words echoed throughout the hall and everyone listened in silence. The child born with the gifts of the highest of hosts has come. With him, he will bring about a new age or end the world when the time will come. Shima and Fukasaku looked at each other worriedly. The boy will experience emotions that no child should and will come to a divide path. There he will come to a decision of whether or not he wishes to save the world. His family will regret many things and those around him. He will be lost and a hand will reach out to him which he will take. The Agama-Sennin spoke one more but stopped and looked worried. The hour of the world's destruction has begun. The chosen one, will be tried and tested by the world, overlooked by the very people who surround him. The only light for the world is for his heart to know mercy, love, and forgiveness. The Sennin spoke with a grave tone. Will the world be saved? Shima asked but no answer was verbally given. A decision was made even before the traces of gifts manifested. And thus, I cannot see any longer how the world will fare as its chosen's light is already starting to dim. When 11 summers has passed and his light is still dim, Jiraiya and Minato will be erased from the scroll of toad summoners, never to be forgiven and never to be aided. It is by their actions that the world, as we know it, is heading for its doom. The Agama-Sennin commanded and all the toads bowed. Gamabunta, Shima, and Fukusaka knew that there was an unspoken command to never breathe a word of it to the summoners or they would be punished for it. They, however, hoped that the Minato and Jiraiya realize their downfall before their time runs out. Taking care of children has been easier since there were many who aided Minato and Kushina. The Yondaime had told his wife about the prophecy and agreed that they had to give their baby girl, their little Noriko, extra attention and training. They loved both children just the same in the eyes of the Peoply Broken Bar, but it was not hidden within the family who really was more cared for. At the age of 4, little Naruto had already figured out that his sister was more lavished and more loved than he. And as much as Naruto wanted to complain about it, he did no such thing. Growing up with Noriko had been a challenge for him. By 3, he asked to be moved to the attic, which Naruto had turned into a bedroom with a library within it. It was more of a library than a bedroom. He rarely came down and his parents rarely called on him when he had moved up and shut himself from them. The only ones who cared for him were Akayachi, his younger brother, Sasuke, Aburame Shino, Nara Shikamaru, Hatake Kakashi, Yuzuki Yujou, Morino Ibiki, Mitarashi Anko, Meido Ge, and Amanaruka. Sasuke didn't like Noriko because she was friends with Yamanaka Ino and Haruno Sakura, and all 3 girls were fangirls. He hated them with a passion. Shikamaru liked Naruto because they played shogi together and would beat Shikamaru 5 out of 10 matches. Shino liked Naruto because the blonde boy had not shunned him for his bugs or for not having eyeballs, as the twin sister had phrased it. Naruto even went as far as defending Shino to Noriko, who had huffed and left them alone instantly while muttering that losers will attract losers. Shino knew, as well as Shikamaru and Sasuke, that Naruto was far stronger, greater, and intelligent than he showed. Naruto was the exact opposite of Noriko: intelligent, patient, observant, cunning, a fast learner, a natural sensor, and an elemental that could bend all elements with his mere will. Noriko was a loudmouth, brash deadlust of the class, rambunctious, and knew nothing but pranking, gossiping, and stalking. In class, Naruto was always flanked by Sasuke on his right, Shikamaru on his left, and Shino guarded their backs. Sasuke and Shino both clicked because they hardly spoke, and if they did, it was about techniques and training. Shikamaru was the tactician of the group, lazy but with a high IQ like Naruto. Both played shogi every afternoon, and Naruto would challenge Shikamaru's mind with shogi, beating the other every other game. Shino was their tracker, and with his bugs, nothing got 15 feet near them without Shino knowing. Even if Naruto was a sensor with a range of 50 feet radius, it didn't keep Shino from doing his share for the group. Sasuke was their kinjutsu and ninjutsu specialist. He had an affinity to lightning and fire that he used from time to time when he was sparring with Naruto, who could bend anything and everything around him. Naruto was the leader of their group. It did not need to be said, but many of the others knew of this fact. The younger twin was far more talented and intelligent than the older twin, yet the children did not understand why it was the girl who was more praised than Naruto. They all remembered the sparring contest where the twins were facing each other. Naruto had simply used Taijutsu and slammed Noriko to a tree, cracking the tree with sheer force. Yet the Yondaime and his wife fussed over the girl more, telling Naruto softly to be more gentle with his sister. The cold and expressionless look Naruto threw his so-called parents made the children shiver in fright. Since then, they stayed away from Naruto's group and made sure to never side with his sister as well. Not long after the contest, Namikaze Noriko had teamed up with Yamanaka Ino, Haruno Sakura, and shockingly, Inuzuka Kiba. The rest of the class knew why the Inuzuka hated Naruto. It was simple, Naruto was also everything Kiba was not. Kiba was just like Noriko, so it did not surprise them long and brushed it off as nothing of importance. Two classes had then clashed one day in the playground, and Hyuga Neji ended up crucified to a nearby tree when he decided to challenge Naruto to a spar. The teachers who watched were scared for the Hyuga when they saw the Namikaze boy's eyes turn freezing cold as he stood up. The match was one-sided and didn't even last 5 minutes. The Hyuga was taken to the hospital instantly as Naruto somehow used a Hyuga paralyzing technique on Neji before crucifying him. The next week when Neji got out, he was seen with Naruto's group and has stuck to them like glue. Neji was another challenger that Naruto and Shikamaru welcomed when it came to shogi, Sasuke when it came to trainings, and Shino when it came to history and theoretical thinking and deducing. On the twins' 7th birthday, the couple had taken Noriko out to celebrate, completely forgetting Naruto, who watched them from his window as they left the mansion gates. He narrowed his eyes and went to his father's study, making sure to keep his chakra to a 0 to leave no traces of him being there. He knew where his father kept the forbidden scroll and he made a copy of its contents before retreating back to his domain, only to find Dakiuchi, Morino Ibiki, Mitarashi, Anko, and Hatake Kakashi waiting for him. Happy birthday, Naruto. Gai hasn't returned from his mission, but he already gave me his gift for you just in case he didn't make it back in time. And Ruka is in town too. He's in charge of some booth that was set up by the academy officials. He sent his gift along as well. Kakashi greeted with his cheerful tone. Happy birthday, Gaki. Yujao-chan is on patrol right now, but she sends her greetings and her gift. Anko beamed at the blonde child, showing the 2 wrap gifts that was from her and Yujao. Happy birthday, Naruto-kun. Ibiki spoke as well. Happy birthday, Ruto-kun. Sasuke wanted to come, but mother made him come with her to town. Shino-kun and Shikamaru-kun are in town as well. And Neji-kun is guarding Hyuga Hinata as the Hyuga clan roam the village. They all asked us to give you their gifts and that they will see you tomorrow in school. Ichi explained as he placed the wrapped gift on the table in Naruto's library room. Kakashi brought cake, Anko brought 3 bottles of apple juice that Naruto loved, and Ibiki brought a bag of Naruto's favorite candy from Tsukigakure. The celebrant gave them a rare smile that they had seen only a handful of times ever since they had known the child. Naruto just never really smiled at all. And even if the others couldn't be there, he knew they wished they were, and that was enough for Naruto. They made him blow the candles and they ate a few pieces before they had to return for their evening patrol duty. Naruto thanked them and gave them a rare hug for their time and presence in his life. It was one of those treasures that both Anbus and the Takebutsu Jounins/TI top interrogators kept close to their hearts. Naruto placed the cake back into its box and went down to the kitchen to place it inside the fridge so it didn't spoil. He returned to his room and began to learn the techniques that he had copied. He was a seal master despite his age. Naruto could rival his father without breaking a sweat, and he himself had already created multiple seals that he used on a daily basis, right under his family's nose. The next day, Naruto entered the kitchen where his family had gathered. Noriko was about to slice the cake that was not for her when Naruto froze her where she stood. If you don't know how to read, the cake has my name on it. What gave you the right to touch what does not belong to you? Naruto asked coldly as he slid the cake away from his sister. Minato and Kushina looked deeply ashamed when they saw the words "Happy Birthday Naruto" on the cake. They had totally forgotten about him yesterday. In Naruto, a broken bar, Kushina called out but stopped when her son sent her a cold look. "If you are going to apologize for forgetting about me yesterday, do not bother. You never remembered me since I turned 3. What makes this year any different? Don't answer. I already know even if you don't say it," he remarked and closed the box and left the kitchen and the house altogether. Noriko fell on the floor and whined that Naruto be punished for freezing her. Minato and Kushina didn't hear it because they both were still in shock as their own son felt more like strangers than family. Minato tried to get into Naruto's room and was stunned to see how much books his child had. There was a bed near the window, a study table next to it, a table to eat, whenever he didn't join them downstairs, and the rest were shelves and shelves of books. He roamed about and noticed that his son had books that didn't even seem like it came from the Fire Country. There were 3 shelves of scrolls near the window at the other side of the attic. Naruto had somehow torn the walls down to make use of the whole area and not just a side of it. When Minato tried to take a scroll, a lightning zapped him and he instantly pulled his hand back. He took a strand of hair and threw it forward only to watch it get fried to ashes. He went back to the study table and saw a large corkboard in front. It had a few photos on it and an album was on the side. He was glad that the table wasn't rigged like the shelves. He pulled out the album and saw photos upon photos were inside a broken bar, and there was no trace of him, Kushina, and Noriko at all. There were photos of Naruto sleeping with Uchiha Sasuke, one where Naruto was playing shogi with a Nara heir. On another page was of Naruto with the Abure mare. It showed his child was being shown a bug that Naruto was holding on his palm, and the other photo was of his son and the Hyuga child sparring in some training field Minato recognized somehow but couldn't pinpoint which. As Minato flipped more pages, he was starting to feel worse when he saw that his boy had photos with his shinobis, and as far as Minato could see, they knew his son better than he did. On one side, Kakashi and Naruto were both wearing face masks that hid the lower part of their faces, while on the other side, the one with Ibiki, both with the same blank bandana that Ibiki used to cover his head. On the next page, Gai and Naruto wearing green spandex and posing around like Gai did, and on the other side of the album was one of Ruka and Naruto, with a book in front of them. Ruka looked like he was reading to Naruto. A few more pages and Minato saw one photo of Ichi was teaching Naruto how to hold a kunai, and another photo showing Naruto and Yuzuki Yujou having cake with Gekko. Height. Near the end, even Enko had a photo with Naruto, and both were wearing a trench coat that Enko always wore, and yet not a single one of them with a family. Minato returned the album back to its place and left his child's room, looking dark with shame, self-disappointment, and self-loathing. Kushina had just waved their daughter goodbye when she saw Minato enter the living room and looking like he had killed someone he knew. "Minato? Is something wrong?" she asked as she sat next to her husband. The yondaime couldn't bring himself to look at his wife. "Do you know that we don't photos of Naruto as he grew up?" he asked her rhetorically. Kushina frowned. "Don't be silly, of course we have photos of Naruto growing up," she said as she stood up and went to the shelf to fetch the photo album they had. Minato didn't say anything as he just waited for his wife to realize that he was right. He watched with a heavy heart as Kushina flipped from page to page, slowly at first before she began to quicken the pace, reaching the end of the album. Suddenly, Kushina felt her hands lost its strength, dropping the album on the floor and stumbling back to the armchair with that behind her. We don't have any PP photos of in Naruto growing up. Ha broken bar, it's all Naruto. A broken bar, just Naruto. Kushina whispered as she tried to gather himself and not break down into pieces. Minato didn't have the strength to move and comfort his wife as he himself was too busy trying to find any memory of him spending time with Naruto. He got more and more frustrated as he thought and dug deeper into his mind. Nothing. Not one single memory. What else didn't they know about their own son? Ruka had sighed as he looked at the faces of the students. Sasuke, Shino, and Shikamaru looked closed off since Naruto had passed the Chunin exams after his 6th birthday. He was proud that Naruto came to him and asked if he could take the text with Neji, and it made the Chunin happier when his precious boy passed on top of the class. He missed his Naruto and it seemed that his friends missed him too. Noriko was just as noisy as ever, and it silently shocked him that the girl didn't even notice that her twin brother was no longer there at first. When she did, she proclaimed loudly how she felt happy that he wasn't there to embarrass her. Ruka knew he shouldn't have thought of it, but it couldn't be helped. He thought that it should have been the other way around. It should be that Naruto be embarrassed to have a sister like her. Shikamaru was no longer the deadlust and did more in class as he remembered that Naruto made the Nara promise to do his best. Shino and Sasuke did their bests as well, and no one had ever penetrated their circle ever since Naruto had graduated. Sasuke had not even complained and knew that Naruto was far more superior than he was, but Naruto glared at him and said that he was just studious. Sasuke snorted at him but just smirked and nodded after congratulating his best friend. As far as he knew, Naruto was apprenticing with Marino Ibiki of the TI department. How that got past the Hokage, Ruka didn't bother to ponder. The Yondaime Hokage, despite being a good leader and a strong presence to the village, was not as observant as he showed. He saw once when he was temporarily the Yondaime's secretary for a week when the original had called in sick one day, how the man went through paperwork. He didn't really read them thoroughly as he should and was told to read the papers and stack them according to its importance. Kakashi told him how the secretary liked Naruto and placed Hibiki's request to have Naruto as his apprentice on the top so that the Yondaime would just stamp and sign it without reading it. Ruka was also told how Ibiki got to have Naruto as his apprentice when Anko, Hayate, Yujou, and even Ichi and Kakashi themselves wanted Naruto as their apprentices. Kakashi and Ichi wanted Naruto on the fast track to become Anbu along with Yujou and Hayate. It was a series of bets that eventually Ibiki had won, and thus having Naruto as his apprentice and the rest groaned. Ruka had chalked on it at first, but his 1 week proved how irresponsible Namikaze Minato could be broken bar, especially when his daughter came to the tower. Not a year later, Chikusa slipped again and the Yondaime had approved Ibiki's request of allowing Naruto to take the Chunin exams at Kusakure. It pained Ruka that his family didn't even notice that he wasn't around for nearly 2 whole months. Naruto had passed, and 6 months later, Ruka himself helped slip the request for Naruto to take the Chunin exams. And again, Naruto had made them all proud to come out as the top contender. All the while, his blood family missing all his accomplishments because they were comforting their daughter who had little to nearly zero ability and talent. Almost 5 years later, Broken Bar Ruka had filed the papers of those who passed the academy and was now waiting for the Yondaime to separate them into teams. Sasuke, Shino, and Shikamaru had earned the top 3 spots with Sakura placing 4th. It did not shock Ruka when he came by Noriko's name, placing in last yet passing the tests and making Junin. He was about to enter the Hokage's office when the Jounins called out to him. "Yo Ruka." Kakashi greeted him and he smiled back. "Kakashi, a broken bar team placements again? Are you going to pass this team or fail them again?" He joked and a few chuckled when Kakashi smirked from under his mask. "It depends on who will be the members of the team and if they pass my test," he answered. Asuma, Kurenai, Gai, Jinma, Hayate, Kakashi, and Ruka entered the office and the Jounins sat before the Hokage while Ruka was standing by the yondaime, his clipboard ready in hand. "I'll write a broken bar. Have sorted out the students who passed and picked who will be the team's sensei will be. Team 10 or the Inoshika-cho team is composed of Yamanaka Ino, Nara Shikamaru, and Okamaki-cho. Asuma, I want you to handle them. If the Nara is as great as his father, he will be a challenge for you." Minato began. Kakashi, Ruka, Gai, Jinma, and Hayate discreetly raised their brows when Shikamaru was mentioned. Of course the boy was going to be greater than his father. They had been there when Naruto made the Nara promise to be greater than Narashikaka ever had been. Next, Team 11, Hyuga Neji, Rock Lee, and Nomima Uri-ten. Gai, Rock Lee is a taijutsu specialist such as yourself. Hyuga Neji is a genius as well. The girl is a weapon specialist. I'm sure you'll be able to handle them. Minato addressed the Spanx-wearing Jounin. Kakashi instantly gagged Gai, who was about to yell something, and the rest of the people sighed in relief. Moving on, Kurenai, I want you as teammates Jounin-sensei. You have Hyuga Hinata, a Barame Shino, and a Inuzuka Kiba. Minato said, taking note the stiffened expressions his Jounins showed. Is something wrong? Kurenai asked the others, and the Jounins turned to Ruka to explain it to her. Kurenai-san, Inuzuka Kiba and a Barame Shino are not on the best of terms. Though Shino will not outright retaliate if Kiba attacked or yell, it has been noted that Kiba had been beaten by Shino time after time during their academy days. You will be playing peacemaker as Hyuga Hinata is right outshined a wallflower. Ruka told her, and the other nodded. Thank you for the information, Amano-san. I will do well to remember it. She thanked him and bowed as Ruka bowed back. Now that we covered that, this year we have more girls than boys, so, Team 7 will have 2 females and 1 male, Haruno Sakura, Akaya Sasuke, and Namikaze Noriko. Kakashi, I want you as their Jounin. When Sasuke activates his Sharingan, you will be able to help him along with his clan to control it. He said as he thought of Ichi not being able to do it since the young man was off on assignments most of the time. Hayate and Jinma were relieved that they didn't have to have teams this time, as their own had already moved up to Chunins. Kakashi, Ruka, and Gai, however, looked a bit troubled. What's wrong this time, Kakashi? Asuma spoke up. The group stared at Kakashi, who stared at the yondaime. Kaya Sasuke will kill you when he finds out that you placed him with Haruno and your stalker of a daughter. Kakashi flat out told the Hokage, who looked shocked. He knew his daughter fancied the younger Akaya heir, but he didn't know that she was stalker the poor boy. The yondaime pondered for a bit and frowned further. Is something wrong, Hokage-sama? Hayate inquired for the whole group. As far as I remember, my son Naruto was in the same class as Noriko, a Barame Shino, Nara Shikamaru, and Ukaya Sasuke. But I did not see his name on the list of those that graduated this year. Amano-kun, did he fail? Minato asked, and the other, Sense Kurenai and Asuma gasped in shock. Of course not, Hokage-sama. The reason why Naruto-kun is not on this list is because he already had graduated long before. He had not been placed into a team because he was taken as an apprentice immediately. Ruka informed the man, pride in his tone. However, Minato was shocked as he was listening. Naruto had graduated already? When? Who had requested him as an apprentice? And why did he not notice? When did Naruto graduate, Amano-kun? Minato inquired. He graduated just after he turned 6, Hokage-sama. Then Morino Ibiki had requested him as an apprentice. Not a year later, he moved up to Chunin as he had been the only one who had remained during the Kusakura Chunin exams. And 6 months later, he had moved up again and is now a Jounin. Ruka said, successfully killing the smirk, and appeared off as neutral and expressionless. Kakashi, Gai, Jinma, and Hayate on the other hand were all smiles. What? You mean to say that my son has been a Jounin for nearly 5 years and I am just hearing this now? Minato said as he broke out from his shock and disbelief. That can't be right, Hokage-sama. You yourself had approved of them, signed them, and all files had your stamp on it. It must have been during Chikusa-san's time when this all had happened, since I was still a teacher's aide when Naruto had graduated the academy. Ruka said, mentally apologizing to Chikusa's soul. The woman had died during childbirth and with her child along. Her husband was a Jounin who died 3 months later during his rounds near the Kirigakure border. The Jounins watched as their Yondaime Hokage tried to catch his breath. Namikaze Naruto, his son, was just about to turn 11 in 3 months. And yet he was already a Jounin? How could he have missed it? There must have been some mistake. Amano-kun, give me the files of Namikaze Naruto please. He said calmly, and the Chunin left instantly. He shined to the archives, grabbed the file, and returned to the office not 3 minutes later. Minato saw for himself the list of achievements his son had: 12 D ranks, 15 C ranks, 27 A ranks, and 10 S ranks. He shuffled through the file and saw Chunin exam report stating his son being the only one remaining, thus passing the tests hands down. On another paper, the Jounin exams and the report that Naruto had excelled the exams and was the only one left like his Chunin exam. He dropped the papers on the table and looked totally floored. Tenzo, bring Morino Ibiki and Namikaze Naruto here immediately. Minato commanded after what seemed like forever. The Jounins shifted, yet Ruka remained passive. He was cackling mentally as he had been there to support Naruto when he came home from the exams. He had been there when Naruto struggled to study and learn ninja techniques and elemental control. Ruka had been there when Naruto broke down after his first C-rank mission where he had killed a bandit who attacked them. He, along with Anko, Ibiki, Kakashi, Yujao, Hayate, Gai, and Ichi, they'd been there for Naruto. Even Sasuke, Shino, and Shikamaru had comforted the blonde when he had broken down the second time after his first S-rank mission that almost killed him. 10 minutes later, a knock on the door broke the silence of the office. Come in. Minato spoke out, and his eyes widened in shock when his son, who now had the same hair length as himself, came in wearing a Jounin vest and his Hittite held his. blonde hair back from his face that was half covered with a mask like Kakashi. However, what caught his attention most was his son's freezing cold eyes. "You called for us, Hokage-sama?" Ibiki inquired as he stood next to Naruto. "Ibiki, you requested for Naruto's apprenticeship, his pass for the Chunin exam, and Jounin exams, yes?" Minato asked him back. "Hi, Hokage-sama. I filed them all through all the channels and got them approved by you 3 days after." "Is something wrong?" Ibiki inquired once more. It was no secret to them that the Yondaime overlooked Naruto. And now that this revelation had surfaced, the man was either in denial, going to yell for not being told, even if the files had his stamp and signature, or declare that Naruto was not fit for his rank. If that happened, Ibiki would resign as a shinobi immediately. Minato turned from the man to his son, who stared at him with cold and expressionless eyes, making Minato shiver inside. "Naruto, a broken bar, how come you never told us about you making Jounin? Let alone passing the Chunin exams and the Chunin exams?" Minato asked with a pained expression. "With all due respect, Hokage-sama, broken bar, I did not see the need to tell you, as you have approved of the requests. Surely you had read through them before signing them and placing your stamp on it as final approval?" Naruto asked with the same cold voice, and Minato knew that his son had more to say but didn't for some reason. "May I inquire why you do not proceed to request to join Ambu?" "I would have had done such if the TI department were not short on staff. With Ibiki-san and Anko-san alone, they have very little shinobis to work the department." Naruto answered once more, and Minato sighed. "Everyone except Naruto are dismissed. Team and Jounin placements are done." Minato commanded, and the other filed out. Kakashi, Hayate, Gai, Jinma, Ibiki, and Ruka patted Naruto's head before leaving. When the door was closed, Minato sealed the room into silence. "Naruto, a broken bar, why didn't Minato began, but Naruto cut him off. "I tell you? For what reason should I, when you never showed any interest with whatever I did? You actually had your chance after my 6th birthday. I know you went to the attic and saw the photo album on my study table. But neither you nor your wife did anything to change our situation. Your daughter only got worse after, and she had little to no intelligence and talent compared to me. Did you know that people often wondered how I am related to her when she cannot even be on the same level as I when it came to performance and talent?" Naruto taunted his father, who felt worse and worse as Naruto verbally slapped him with the truth. "If you only cared to look, you would probably have noticed that you know nothing about me. It's your shinobis who have been there for me. Ruka-sensei was the one who comforted me when I came back from my first C-rank mission, when I had my first kill a group of bandits who were in the way as we passed by bird country. It was Ichi who taught me how to properly hold a kunai and shurikens. It was Hayate and Yujao who taught me how to use a sword and blades. Gai taught me Tei Jutsu. Anko and Ibiki taught me ways to interrogate prisoners without having to even tough them. Did you know that Neji, Sasuke, Shino, and Shikamaru were the ones to hold me when I came back from my first S-rank mission? I nearly died then when Ibiki and Hayate were surrounded and I was facing 3 nuns who had a Kekkai Genkai that we didn't read on the report." Naruto kept on telling him, and Minato was already crying in silence as his mind processed how much he had missed in his son's life. "Those people saw me at my best and worse, broken bar, and all those times, you and your wife were doting on your daughter who would never amount to anything because she knows nothing, and passing the academy was a mere fluke. She's the dead last of her batch while I topped mine. Naruto pointed one more time and took a deep breath. If there isn't anything else, I will return to my duty now, Hokage-sama. Naruto said and narrowed his eyes. Minato managed to shake his head, and before he could even unseal the room, his son shattered the seal he placed and opened the door. Oh, by the way, I'm a seal master as well as an elementalist too. You should read my file, as I am sure every ability I have is in there. I think I'm in the bingo book as well. He said as left the office and closed the door behind him. Minato stared at the space of his office, then back to the door that his son just exited. It took nearly half an hour before Minato moved to read the file that was on his desk, a broken bar, and true enough, everything was there. Naruto excelled in taijutsu, genjutsu, ninjutsu, and kenjutsu. He was a seal master as well, and from how he easily broke his seal, Minato was sure his son was on the same level, if not, better than him. Naruto's affinity were wind, water, earth, fire, and lightning. He would have felt so proud of all the achievements if he didn't feel horrible for abandoning his son when he needed him growing up. Lastly, Minato pulled out a copy of the bingo book and searched for his son's name. Bingo book entry number 100,390. Name, Namikaze Maelstrom Naruto. Age, unknown. Affiliation, Konoha. Rank, High Chunin to High Jounin. Threat level, High to low S level. Description, long yellow hair, ice cold blue eyes, lower half of the face covered by a mask, around 5 feet in height, elementalist, can bend all 5 elements, excels in taijutsu, genjutsu, ninjutsu, and kenjutsu. Killed 30 Kirigakurinins, hunter and jounins, and nearly 100 Otogakurinins, chunins, jounins, and hunter nins. Bounty, 10 million Ryo, carry, Oto. Condition, approach with caution. To be brought back, dead or alive. Oto, to be brought back alive. Carry, Minato closed the book and suddenly felt so tired, like he had been running for months. Naruto's words and taunts about him not knowing anything about his own son came back to his mind. He could even hear his son's voice clearly. The whole afternoon was spent in his office, trying to mentally crucify himself, and repeating it inside his mind how much of a failure he was as a father to his one flesh and blood. He gathered the papers and left his office. It was better to show Kushina the file than explain. Minato didn't have the energy to even speak anymore. He just felt so tired and disappointed in himself for everything that he had not done for his son, who was a splitting image of himself when he was that age. The trip home had taken forever, and he saw the light up on his son's room and the silhouette that indicated that his son was indeed in his room, moving about. Couldn't face his son, not after what had happened in his office. Minato just didn't have the courage anymore, and he was sure that Kushina would break open once more. As he entered their home, he could already hear his wife and daughter's voice. He stayed by the door, listening to his daughter tell his wife about what her day was like and what she had done. Nothing of importance from what Minato could gather. Gossiping with the Haruno and Yamanaka girls, looking at clothing shops, and about Okaya Sasuke. Something told Minato that placing his daughter in the same team as the boy was going to shorten his life in half. Did you know that people often wondered how I am related to her when she cannot even be on the same level as I when it came to performance and talent? Naruto's voice popped into his head once more, which made Minato flinch in pain. He finally found the strength to move and enter the kitchen silently. He remembered yesterday evening when Uriko came home, yelling at the top of her lungs that she had passed the academy test. If only he had not been so focused on her, he would have wondered why Naruto had not spoken to them about his passing. But then he mentally slumped on his mental floor that he had not spoken to his son since the day after the twins' 6th birthday, where Naruto had frozen Noriko the moment he entered the kitchen and then unfrozen her when he had left the house. That should have been a sign for Minato, but he didn't see it clearly back then. Before he could say anything, his wife and daughter saw him and stared worriedly at him. "Minato?" Kushina called out. "Something wrong, Daddy?" Noriko asked as she got down from the stool and walked up to him. "Can you go up to your room while Mommy and I have a talk, Princess?" Minato requested with a deep sigh. Noriko didn't understand but nodded and left the kitchen, but didn't go to her room as she was told. She hid just by the door and waited to hear what they would have talked about. Much to her annoyance, her dad sealed the kitchen and now she couldn't hear anything at all. And Noriko was sure as hell that the kitchen was sealed close so no one could get in or out. Inside, Minato silently handed Kushina the folder of their son and sat down at the head of the table. He waited for her reaction and just sat there as Kushina, once again, broke into shock, disbelief, and tears. He was contemplating how much they had missed while their son had grown up. They weren't there to congratulate him for passing the academy. They weren't there when he passed the Chunin and Jounin exams. They weren't there to praise him for his abilities and skills. They weren't there to comfort him after his first kill on duty. They weren't there to comfort him when he nearly died in the line of duty. And Minato should have known about it if he only read the reports thoroughly like he should have. He relied far too much on the spoken reports that he dismissed the written ones after his shinobas leave his office. "How could we have not been able to see all these, Minato?" Kushina said in between her sobs. Minato did not answer. He couldn't, since he didn't know what to tell her. So many questions ran through his mind that very moment. His son had faced him earlier with so much distance. Naruto had stood before him as nothing more than a jounin of Konoha before his Hokage. He now tried to remember when the last time his son ever called him daddy or Kushina mommy. When was the last time they ate dinner together? When was the last time Naruto asked him for anything? When was the last time Naruto even told them how his day was? But for Minato, the most important question for him as a father was, when was it he last saw his son smile at him? "Minato, a broken bar. Is there a way to fix this?" Our son Kushina was cut off and Minato brought out of his thoughts when a presence entered the kitchen without the ceiling breaking. "You lost your son 5 years ago, a broken bar. I am here to simply inform you that I am moving out of this house. I have finished packing my books and will be leaving now," Naruto told them coldly and turned to leave. Minato broke the seal and followed his son out with Kushina right behind him. He saw his daughter gaping as she stared at her twin brother, who was wearing his jounin vest and his Hittite and had a box with him. "Naruto, please don't leave. Give us a chance to fix whatever we need to," Kushina pleaded as he held onto her son's arm, stopping him from leaving. Naruto turned to look at her dead in the eyes. "You don't even know what you need to fix. Besides, I already said you lost your son 5 years ago. There is nothing left for you to fix. Why don't you just dote on your daughter like you've been doing all these years? If you want, I'll even request for my name to be changed. That way, officially, you will no longer have a son. You never did remember you had one. This will just make it official." Naruto told her with a smirk that made even Minato shiver. Kushina was crying as Naruto pulled his arm away from her. Minato was beating his brain to say something. His 10-year-old son was moving out. Jounin Namikaze Naruto. As your Yondaime Hokage, I command you to stop. Minato yelled, which made Naruto turn and glare at him. You dare stoop so low as to use your position to stop me? Well, I shouldn't be surprised since that's the only thing you are to me. You are my Hokage and nothing more. He taunted Minato, who looked ashamed now. Naruto turned to face the man, totally ignoring Kushina, who was crying by his side. As you command, Yondaime-sama. Broken bar. What can I do for you? Naruto inquired as he placed down his box and fell on one knee as the Anbu, Jounin, and Chunins did. Minato was trying his best not to shatter as he stared his son, who was now on bended knee. Naruto was right. Minato was nothing more than his Hokage. Stay. I command you to stay. That is an order. Minato said as he swallowed hard, nothing knowing what else he was left to do. Naruto stayed still for a while, then spoke with the coldness tone Minato had ever heard his whole life. As your will, Yondaime Hokage-sama. Naruto stood up, grabbed his box and returned to the attic that was once more his room, leaving a speechless Noriko, a crying Kushina, and a tired Minato on his wake. Thank you for watching. Hope you have enjoyed.